shout out to Christian Whitney and Black Sevens. If you need any graphic design work done, make sure you hit up Christian at blacksevens.com. Christian is a native of North Denver and a beast at what he does. He's also a great dude. Visit blacksevens.com right now to see his work, buy some merch, and just see what he has going on. When we had the idea for DNA, we shot it over to Christian. He knocked it out the park. We are excited to feature his work, so go visit him and check him out at blacksevens.com for more. Yeah.
What's up, y'all? Back at it.
4.
Yeah. Got a little special guest in the house today, man. Very special episode for me, and I know for Dom, young gentleman that we've had the luxury of being able to work with, coach, both football and for me in track. Great kid, Brandon Bennett. What's up, man?
What's up, Coach? Thanks for having me. Coach Dom, thank you.
Welcome.
Yep.
Man, so hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Episode 4. Been a little interesting seeing like just where some of the stuff's coming from, some of the numbers are coming from. It's pretty cool. I know I text Dom a bunch of different times, man, like, hey dude, check this out, or check this out. Look who's listening to us now, and it's freaking exciting. So we appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate everyone listening. Make sure you visit the website dnasportsdenver.com. You go to dnasportsdenver.com/ask a question. If you have a question you want to ask the show, something you think we should be covering, just a shout out, you want to give a shout out to somebody, hit up dnasportsdenver.com/askdna and check it out. Also hit up dnasportsdenver.com and hit up the podcast up there. Go buy some merchandise. Shout out to Isaiah for the sweater you purchased the other day. We're just building this thing, man, and we're super excited to be building it, and we look forward to everyone's help. Dom, I mean,
yeah, and you know, he said we're gaining followers and viewers as we go. So if you're in tune with us and you're listening to us, go ahead and give us a share. You know, the more we grow, you know, the bigger our platform gets, then we can definitely bring you out more guests and do more things and grow our platform and give you more content that you guys have been asking for.
Yeah, man, and it helps us, and it helps get people views, and you know, maybe we shed some light on some things that not enough folks are talking about. We're hanging outside on a patio today, so if you get some birds chirping or some planes flying over, man, I want you to enjoy the day just as much as we are. Sunny, beautiful Denver, Colorado. Like I said, we got a guest, Brandon Bennett. Brandon's been, you know, part of my life and part of, you know, Dom's life for a number of years now. We coached him at high school at North. He's a college football athlete. He's going to be starting his first season over at Adams State University. Just a really good kid, man. I have tons of great things to say about him. He's a knucklehead on the field in terms of just, you know, cracking the joke at the right time. So great to have you on, Brandon. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, but going back to the viewership and everything, everybody listening, Coach Dom said we get 10 viewers, I get a free hoodie. So
Yes, sir.
you just get it 10 people to listen, I get that free hoodie. So finish the podcast, finish it. Everything is going to be a good podcast today.
And to clarify, you gotta go like and subscribe, man. Like one of our pages, our Instagram, Twitter, any of those, we get that hooked up. Brandon's out here, man. He's home for the summer. We're actually working with him tomorrow, doing some things, just some training, helping us get some footage for the website and all that, man. So super stoked to have him here. Going over to Adams State now, right?
Yes, sir.
Spent the last 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
In Nebraska, Kearney, beast defensive lineman, man. One of the best that I've seen that I've been able to coach for, I guess, not necessarily against. I'm an offensive lineman, and I used to try to get Brandon out on the offensive side forever. But you know, Coach Dom got to work with him firsthand, and could probably tell you just tons of fun stories and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, you know, the intangibles will be the first thing. You know, when you see this guy on the field and you look at him from first glance, a lot of guys are going to say, oh, wow, you know, that guy isn't going to have the first step on me. And when you see this guy fire off the ball, his get-off is phenomenal. And his hands are great. His footwork is great. His strength is out of this world. So, you know, I haven't seen many kids since him that I've coached defeat double teams quite like him. You know, and again, I think the sky's the limit, and his work ethic and what he wants to do with this sport and how he sees himself in the sport, it is really great to see it, and it's fun to watch him. You know, it was a privilege to watch him as a coach, and now it's a privilege to watch him as a fan. And I'm excited to see what he does at Adams State.
So Brandon, kind of this segment, just want to more give background on you, kind of dive into some old fun stories. Keep it light, man. I mean, we're here to not only to just highlight, our joy in being able to see you grow as an athlete and being able to see some of the things you do, man. I think every time you text, video, footage of film and whatever, updates or whatever, man, it excites me, bro, because I've got a handful of kids that we've worked with directly that are playing ball at the next level, and it's a hard feat to get to, man. Like, people think it's easy sometimes. They just think you're a big dude. You won the genetic lottery, and people think it could be easy. But I think when they fail to see behind the scenes work and see how much work you actually put in, what you've been doing, and how you've improved from even your sophomore, junior years in high school where you were really good, but you polished yourself off really well your senior year, and it landed you tons of opportunities to go play at the next level. What age did you start playing football, and how were you kind of introduced to the game?
So I started playing football when I was super young. I was a second grader, so I don't know the exact age, but the reason I got into football is because, I was that annoying little brother at my big brother's practices every day. So just seeing him play and then seeing his team win like 3 championships before I was even old enough to touch the field, kind of motivated me. And then my brother, he was super good at football, so they were like, his little brother must be good. Let's pay for him too. Was lucky enough, got everything paid for when I was in second grade. We did really good. And yeah, my first team was the Bear Creek Mustangs. So
nice. So early age, second grade, did you at any point through that journey think like, yo, this isn't going to be for me? Or did you know right away, like, yo, I love this game. I like what's going on here, the competition. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, so, of course, went through a couple different positions. I never really thought I'd be a defensive lineman growing up, but I think once I was, really good and I was able to play with a bunch of people, throw a couple other kids around, I think that's when I knew that I could take this a little bit further and keep going with it, and then eventually just kept stacking on, Second grade turned into third grade, I was still good. Just kept being a beast, translated all the way through high school. So,
oh yeah.
I got a couple questions for you, Brandon. And everyone that plays a game or makes it to the level in which you make it to has a why. And all our viewers out there want to know, and all your followers want to know, what is Brandon Bennett's why?
So, like I said before, a couple of the viewers might relate with this, but coming from a low-income family and everything, you kind of want to break the cycle. So,
sure,
best way to break the cycle, college degree, get that college money. So, low income, like I said, you can't really pay for college out of pocket. That's like you're going to be in debt like $70,000 a year. So, what is the one way you can get free college? Be a freak athlete. Without doing school and everything, but.
Yeah. So when I see guys in the NFL today, I know there's a few guys that your game definitely reminds me of. But it's also good to kind of get the perspective of the player. And if you could think of one player in the NFL that your game is similar to, or you try to emulate while you're on the field, who would that be?
So a lot of the time I was like getting like, oh, Aaron Donald, all this and that, just because,
I see that.
Explosive, fast movement. But as I began to watch a little bit more NFL games, a little bit more film, I realized that I relate a little bit more to Vita Vea.
Nice.
Just because, Vita Vea, he's a big, strong defensive lineman. I like to use my strength a little bit more than my finesse. Mm-hmm. So with Aaron Donald, he likes to use a lot of finesse, but I feel like I would relate more to Vita Vea.
That's funny that you mentioned your strength, and this ain't even on what we're talking about, but I remember one time I have a habit of challenging kids, especially the
Bad
ones.
thing to do as a coach.
Well, they have a habit of challenging me actually, and they're especially the good ones that think they're real, the shit, right?
Yeah.
So one time we're out, I think this is during track season, and we get done with practice, and we're out there on the north in the little square area just outside the lunchroom, the grass area right there, and I was like, yo. Y'all can't mess with me. And there's a couple other kids they couldn't see me. I shut them down, and then this big dude right here, he bull rushed me, bro.
You
And
hurt your back, didn't you?
no, I didn't hurt my back, but he lifted me up. He lifted me up, and it brought back some bad memories from when I was a young kid playing college ball and getting too high, you know, and getting defensive tackle underneath me. It definitely brought them memories back, and I didn't fall. I landed on my feet, bro, because I'm an athlete. But
I was 15.
you were not 15. You were like 16, 17.
I was a sophomore in high school.
He's not your junior year, I think.
No, it was sophomore year.
Whatever. Anyway,
Who's counting?
this ain't your average sophomore. This is a 280-pound,
So Brandon
6
Bennett
foot
we're talking
sophomore,
about, viewers.
freakish athlete, like you mentioned earlier. You know, this is what he thought he was back then. Anyway,
Coach, you think that's funny? You know, I talked about his get off and his speed earlier, right? I pride myself in being somewhat of a agile fat man, and I think I could get around, right? So there was one day, and I don't remember which year. This might have been actually junior year. But I challenged him to a 40, you know, as him being our fastest lineman that we had.
I remember that.
You know, and I quit after probably 15 yards
Quit after 10.
He was about 15 yards ahead of me. So, you know, as a coach, you really got to watch out what you ask for when you see some of these players come in and you know, you could probably challenge majority of them, but there's going to be one that makes you look like a fool out there. But hey, I'm glad to look the way I looked in relation to a great athlete like this. So
I remember that day, bro, and you know what? That was kind of like a start for where I saw a change in Brandon. That junior year, kind of going into after track season started to finish, he went into this kind of different Brandon mode, bro, because I think he realized his senior year was coming. Mm-hmm. And that camp, that was during camp. That was during our spring camp that year. We split in the yellow and gold and white teams. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And that was the year you got smoked by Brandon. But that was also the year that I saw leadership skills really start to develop within him. And Brandon, I mean, it's sometimes hard when you got so much around you that can kind of stray you the wrong way. How were you able to kind of refine those leadership skills and kind of focus in to be a better leader, be a better athlete? And I think it made you a better overall football player in person.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, though, it wasn't just me that was being a leader. I think coming in senior year, we just stepped up.
That whole group was great, man. Not the whole group, but that core that you guys had, you guys were great. Like, you guys are great leaders.
Yeah, so, you know, Elias Zarate, Michael Marquez, Donovan Calderon, the 4 captains on the team, I feel like we all just stepped up. And, you know, I feel like as captains of the team, our bond was just a little bit different. And, you know, our leadership was different. We were pushing everybody. Everybody decided to be great, wanted to step up, try and compete with us. And, you know, it really translated very well because we're all still great friends. And after this, I'm probably going to go hang out with Donovan and Elias. So I think that really helped. It was just like the chemistry that all the seniors had together.
Camaraderie shit.
It was great, man. Like, I hadn't seen a group of seniors like that in a long time. And
there's also accountability, right? Because they held each other accountable. Like, there'll be times where you know, Brandon would see one of them not doing what they do normally, and he'd get on their head, or, you know, vice versa. But
for sure. No, I think that was a special group, man. That group stands out with me. We're talking about the barbecue over here at your backyard.
Yeah.
You know, and just the fun that we had with that. And I think I seen Elias like last week. I see him every now and again at the we do throws practice on Tuesdays and Wednesdays over at North, and seen him over there a few times, and he's always dapping me up, showing love. And I think those kids were great kids. That senior group in particular. We've had a lot in our time, but I think that group really stands out to me just because they really took the bull by the horns and said, "Hey, this is our team. You're gonna do it the right way, or you're not gonna do it." And you've seen some of these younger kids, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about off air, Brandon, with you got people that look up to you just because you're you and you're willing to take it by the horns. You know what I mean? A lot of people kind of sit back. You see it in everything. People would rather sit back and record than intervene and act on something. So that's a big shout out to you. Big shout out to your crew, your senior class, and the guys that did it right, man, because you really made that season enjoyable.
Yep. You know, I got a few more questions for Brandon on this. You know, we talked about your childhood earlier and what got you into sports. Aaron Donald and Vita Vea now as current players. But who was your favorite player growing up as a kid?
So I actually had 2 favorite players, and that's just because they were 2 of the best that ever stepped on the field. And Aaron Donald, you know, still one of the best, but he's fairly new to the league. 2011 still. Not new, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So growing up, the two best players I think were always J.J. Watt and then Ray Lewis, just because they could hit dogs on the field, and more so J.J. Watt just because he was a defensive lineman, defensive edge. So seeing him play, seeing his play style, super aggressive, super fast, he was just like what every kid defensive lineman wanted to be when you grew up. And then Ray Lewis with how hard he could hit. I mean, there was one of the funniest clips, I think, is when Ocho Cinco's coming across the middle, and then Ray Lewis, not even trying, just lays him out, and then Ocho Cinco's on the sideline just in pain. I think that's one of my favorite memories.
Well, and Ocho Cinco was trying to crack him, too, on that crackback on him, too, and he just got killed. Those guys were scary.
Yeah.
Super scary.
You know, the funny thing about that is you say Ray Lewis, right? And we talked about who you think your game kind of emulates, and as far as like the leadership aspect that Ray Lewis brings to on the field, right? Because when you see a player giving everything he has, just laying it all on the line, you then want to do the same thing. And I think, you know, again, junior and senior year for you, you know, you were that guy that would lay it all on the line. You know, at the end of the game, you're just totally drained, and other guys fed off that. So, you know, I think those kind of attributes that Ray Lewis possesses, you know, you also possess. So that's a great thing for you to maybe put into perspective and take with you into these next season coming up is that you hold that ability as well. So, you know, continue to strive and do what you do, man.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, when did you know or realize that you're pretty good at football and that this might actually be something that you can use to get to college? You were talking about earlier, sometimes the finances aren't there. When did you know that, hey, I might be able to make this happen myself?
So, once again, you know, super young, playing on a youth team. I was playing with the Saints, North Denver Saints, I think they were called. And after one of the games, the head coach goes up to my mom, and he says, every day I wish we had 11 Brandons on the field. So when he said that, I was just like, man, that's kind of a compliment, especially saying it to my mom because, you know, when if they talking to your mom talking good about you, that must mean you doing something right.
For sure. I think that compliment can kind of be, I think a lot of guys kind of pass that compliment off as just like coach talk, right? Yeah. But it's, man, that's one of the greatest compliments you can have is it kind of speaks to your motor, speaks to your coachability, speaks to what you bring to the field, not just, you know, in the physical form or in terms of your abilities, but also the intangible stuff that you can't coach. It's just in somebody. So that's a great compliment to get, man, for sure.
Yeah, you know, actually the other day at my daughter's softball game, we're leaving, and the umpire actually coaches a competitive softball game or team as well, and he pulled my daughter to the side and was like, you know what, you're right there. You have all the intangibles. He coached her up a little bit, gave her a few pointers, and her smile when she got into the car, bro, was so huge. Like, she felt so confident. She came home. We were pitching in the backyard after her game. You know, she just, it took her to want her to compete and become a better softball player just by somebody giving her those compliments. So it really does go a long way.
So we got a lot of great moments to catch up with Brandon on. We're going to get going on to next things. But before we do that, though, there's a couple of things that I know Dom wanted to bring up and I definitely wanted to bring up. I just remember the last game I ever coached that you were on the team with together. You know what I mean? That last game, your senior year. And all goes back to them seniors. All you guys just had that look of just you left everything on the field. I remember trying to get pictures with you guys and how drained y'all were. And we won that game. I believe we beat Northfield that game. I believe that's what it was. But it was a great, great last kind of performance for you guys. And to see how drained you were just kind of spoke to who you guys were as players, leaving everything out on the field. And then there was the Skyview game.
Ooh, the Skyview game. Man, I just remember, so I was in the box during that game, right? And when Brandon hit that kid and that ball squirted out, you can feel the stands just rumbling, bro. Like, it was a crazy feeling. David and I were in the box jumping up and down, going crazy. Like, that turned that game right there at that moment. And it was a phenomenal thing to see in person.
And that was on top of a game that was already a fun and entertaining game. And to see you put your stamp on it, bro, that had to feel great, huh?
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a really close game, and it was like last couple minutes of the fourth and tie game right there. So Skyview, I believe they were within red zone, maybe within the 10.
Yep, they were in.
So, yeah, there was this big running back. He was number 33, but the whole game running straight up the middle, just torching us. And this was a game that, wasn't in for the first couple plays because, but.
Because why?
Just a little messing around and everything, kind of
Gotcha.
Caught up, and then almost cost my team the game. But that's on me, and I definitely had to leave it all out when I was in. So, fourth quarter, last couple plays, and it looks like Skyview's about to get in, and then I see that big dude get the ball, and just everything in me was like, I need to hit him. So as soon as the play goes, just throw the OL off me. He comes straight to me, which was a huge mistake. I don't know why he would do that, but put my helmet down. And then I seen that ball. I mean, I didn't see the ball come out. I kind of like got up, looked back, and everybody was cheering. And I was like, oh. And then heading over to the sideline, I see the big dude still on the ground. I'm like, oh, that I hit like that. And then I do remember Coach Dom in the box. I looked over to our stands, and we were away at this game too, so it was just like it was packed.
Yeah.
But I remember looking over, everybody's jumping, clapping. I see Dom in the box jumping. Thought the whole stands were gonna break when he jumped, but
Hey, and he could barely see me too, right? Because I'm jumping just to see over the ledge.
Dom's jumping, and he sees the top of Dom's head.
yeah. But I mean, that was a great feeling just because I went to the sideline, everybody's clapping me up. We get a nice little break because 33's injured. I think he had torn a couple things, but that was a great accomplishment. It's gonna sound a little messed up, but it felt great because he was out cold. He was just laying flat on the ground. So I was like, yeah, that's how you hit.
Yeah, I think what the accomplishment is the fact that you took accountability, right? You started off by saying, you didn't start that game out because of whatever, decisions that were made to, hold you out for the first couple snaps or whatever for series. But then you use that as your fuel to push you for the rest of that game, So the accomplishment was that you knew you had something to do on that field that day, and you put the team on your back in that moment when we needed it the most, and you made that play. So that in itself is an accomplishment, man. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why I try to pull that out of you. Like, what happened? You know what I mean? I ain't trying to, because it's important to understand as an athlete, you're gonna screw up. You're gonna do things that put your team in a bad position. But the great thing about athletics is most times you have another chance coming up, and you just got to take advantage of that opportunity. And, it's a perfect example of how, hey, I got us, guys. Like, I screwed up. I'm sorry that I wasn't there these first couple series or whatever, but I'm showing up big when the time matters. And that's a great quality to have, man, be able to be accountable for your mistakes and to make up for them.
Yeah, and I think being in that moment, that's kind of what switched it and everything, kind of turned on maybe start taking football serious if I want to play college ball. And I think it definitely translated going into the spring practices, spring game, all of that summer, and then definitely led up to the first game. I still remember the first game of my senior year like it was yesterday just because I went crazy.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, man, because I remember that game.
So, like I said, put in all the work and everything, but, of course, it's your first senior year game, first of the last, so you're going to have those butterflies going in, thinking you're going to mess up and everything, but I went in, we were playing Lincoln, so, little DPS rivalry, had to put a stamp on it, and then I think within the first 2 plays I got a sack, and I was like, okay, this is my game, and then as the game kept going on and on, I think I would say double-digit tackles, but I don't really care about the tackles because that wasn't my goal senior year. But all I remember in that first game was just 4 sacks.
Set the number high to start out.
No, I remember that too because you were definitely disruptive. Is not a strong enough word for how you performed that game. You were in the backfield almost every play it seemed like, and really caused. I'll tell you this: as an offensive line coach, man, you're a nightmare. Like I would. I would cut the hell out of you every time I can because nothing else would work. I don't know. You're just guys like you that are built like you know, stronger, just in big defensive tackles that are just gritty. I mean, I think when you get on the field, you got an attitude about yourself that's real gritty. So, compliment to you, man. We're super proud of you and super excited to have you on, man. We're gonna bounce it up to the next topic here, but we'll keep on. We'll dive back into what Brandon's got going on and some of the stuff he's doing now here in a second. But you know, last week we were talking about grades and eligibility, Dom. I know we like to highlight things for student athletes, and it's kind of great to have Brandon here for this. But this week we make it a point to advise young student athletes to kind of keep in mind who you're keeping around you and who they are, who you're hanging out with, and just some of the places you're putting yourself in. You know, it's one of those things where you can't control what happens around you. Sometimes you can only control where you're at. So I know some of these young folks, this is one of the topics they really need to hear, Dom.
Yeah, you know, before we get on to that, I just want to go back a little bit and clarify for the viewers and the listeners out there that Brandon, you know, when he spoke about sitting out for that Skyview game as his coaches, it wasn't anything crazy or out of this world. It was just a normal disciplinary action, which any coaching staff and player would hold themselves accountable for. So, yeah, I just want to clarify that he was, you know, not doing anything so crazy to anybody should be kind of coming to conclusions in their head out there. But, yeah, Coach, you know, you want to surround yourself with good people, you know, and good people is what we had that senior year, like we spoke on, you know, 4 captains who held each other accountable on the field and off the field, you know, and when one was slacking or when one was needing some help in certain subjects or things like that, you know, they kind of banded together and they helped each other out. And those are the kinds of people that you need to surround yourself by because, you know, at everybody's point in life, we all grow up with childhood friends. And at certain points in our life, there's a fork in the road to where our childhood friends' lives go one direction and our lives go the other. And it's very important to know that, you know, you always want to love and stay loyal to people who are around you. But first and foremost, you got to be loyal to who you are as a man and who you are, your morals, your principles, you know, your responsibilities to life. So, you know, if your friend that, you know, happens to go down a different direction, puts himself in certain situations, then as athletes or anybody in this world, you really got to realize the environment you're putting yourself in because you do not want to put yourself in a situation to where you're just with somebody and something happens and then now you're a part of the situation, you know. So we see it all the time with high school kids, you know. Again, that senior year, that senior class, they kept each other out of a lot of this kind of stuff. So that's why we're able to sit here and talk this topic today with Brandon, and you know, we could have these other guys on there as well to show that they all did what they needed to do in life, and they're you know, taking the next steps in their life to be successful men. And you know, I just applaud them for that. But I'll let you guys go ahead and touch on this topic a little bit.
Yeah,
go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, so touching on this topic, you know, as an athlete in college, they're gonna tell you surround yourself around athletes, be with athletes, because that, you know, they want you around people you're going to be around. But as I said, you know, three of my closest friends, Donovan, Elias, Michael, they all play football, and they all still doing really great things. We all still great friends, and, you know, it's good to have those athletic friends, but I also got my friends like Cassie, Chantel, Lawrence, Diego, like all those people, they're not doing anything athletic, not doing, you know, anything like what I'm doing. So I still keep them around though because they still winners. So it's not, as an athlete, you don't got to only be doing so-and-so with athletes. Like those are like my best friends, and they doing nursing in college, just a normal student, you know, stuff like that. So
keep you grounded. I mean, it's important. I truly believe it's important to keep good people around you, you know, to keep success around you. I think if you my first kind of pointer to how to be successful is if you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people. Yeah. You know, surround yourself with success, and I think it's good to have them kind of folks around you. I think it's more important to kind of keep negativity away from you. You know, especially if you're trying to do right, you're trying to do the good things. Keep around them people that got that same vision, that same mindset, right? Because if you're around people that don't have a positive outlook for their own life, there's nothing that they're gonna do to kind of build you up either. You know what I mean? And we got to. I think it's important when we're around that energy, right? That it's energy that builds us and makes us better people, better athletes.
Yeah, and that's a good thing because I mean, you guys coach Michael Marquez, so you know how he is. He's one of the most uplifting people, you know.
Yeah.
Mike is always there when you need him. He'll always, if you sad, he's going to break the tension telling a joke. So I love keeping Mike in my life just because he'll always be one of my closest, dearest friends. So
Mike's a good kid, man. I moved last year, and I didn't have no one to help me move, and I'm a stubborn person, dude. I don't like to ask for help, like just kind of who I am. And I hit up Mike, like, hey, man, what do you got going on? He was like, nothing, coach, what you need? Want to help me move? Yeah. He freaking showed up, man. Like, it's a good kid, man. Like,
yeah, great kid.
And that's good people to have around you. And I think I see it a lot. I see you guys on social media all the time interacting with each other and, cheering each other on. Yeah. And it's important to have them people in your life, man, because as you go forward, it's crazy. When I was in high school, they used to tell us, yo, enjoy this time with each other because chances are y'all aren't going to be around each other that much when you grow up, and it's important to have them day ones with you, man, because life takes us in so many different directions that you never know who's going to be around you in 10, 15 years. So building them relationships and kind of understanding, even if you do lose contact, it'll be like you never skipped a beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
And not only that, right? Those day ones, you've been through it together. Right, you talk about Michael Marquez, Donovan, and Elias. Like, you guys went through all these wins and losses together as brothers, and you grew this brotherhood through school, outside of school, now into college, and whatever you guys got going on nowadays, and when you go through a lot of good and bad times together, that builds a lot of trust, that builds a lot of morale. And that builds a strong bond, and it's good to keep those bonds around, but again, you always have to keep your blinders on to make sure that you're watching out for the ones that, may not have that same passion as you or that same drive as you, because, even some of our oldest friends, heck, some of our family, can derail our success if they haven't figured out their own, so, I don't want to say misery likes company because I don't think there's anybody in that is deliberately gonna come to try to take you down that's been in your day one circle, you know what I mean, or even in your friends group. But I think as long as you keep your eyes open and you can see how people move in regards to themselves, then that'll tell you everything that you need to know about them. If they don't love themselves, how are they ever gonna love you? You know what I mean? So I just think that has something to say. So
I used to have this brother that I knew. His name was Dion, and he was a tour manager for this area for Strange Music, and we used to do a lot of shows for him. We used to do a lot of work with him. He's became a pretty good friend and associate. And I remember he used to always tell us, man, cut the rope, dog.
Yeah.
If they holding you back, cut the rope. He's like, I might be your brother, cut the rope. Might be your sister, cut the rope. And I was like, damn, that's cutthroat as can be. But I get it though, because like it's almost like if fire's coming up on that rope, coming up behind you, right, and you're trying to climb up faster to get away from it, but that it just keeps moving up. Whereas if you just cut the rope, it's gone. And it's hard sometimes. And I'm thankful you got a really good circle around you, because you see a lot of guys that get into playing college ball or get into athletics, their head gets a little bigger, and they don't have anyone there to kind of like bring them back down to earth. You know what I mean? And they don't have anyone there to keep them centered. And it's good to have that support system. So I encourage you guys to continue to having that bond and that support system to get you through, because I'll tell you right now, it's getting you through some hard workouts and some just hard situations right now. And when you get older, life can tend to get a little bit harder sometimes. So it's definitely good to have that support system around you to keep you strong and keep you sane, and then kind of help you understand that maybe this isn't the worst thing in the world, and you'll figure out a way like you always do.
Yes, sir. And that goes what you said, getting through hard times, having those friends, that's just a quick shout out to, Cassie and then my cousin Angie. Both helped me through hard times, so I appreciate those people. Just a quick little shout out.
Big
Shout
ups,
out to
man.
Cassie and Angie.
Big ups. Hey, yo, while we're doing this shout out to Genesis Catering. If you're looking for a catering service for your event, I highly encourage you to give Genesis a try. It's a family-run company featuring the Mexican-American cuisine from enchiladas to street tacos and fajitas. Man, they throw it down. Delicious green chili, beans, rice, all the fixings, man. From small gatherings to large events, it's no job big or too small for Genesis Catering. Weddings, birthdays, birthday parties, anniversaries, funerals, business lunches, graduations, any event. Make sure you hit up Genesis Catering. Find them on Facebook at Genesis Catering Colorado, or give them a call at 303-669-2215. Again, that's Genesis Catering Colorado, or hit them up at 303-669-2215.
Hey man, go out and check them out. Food's very good, very recommended from our podcast. So check them out. Get your food. Get right.
The other thing is, man, you need to make sure you check out DNASportsDenver.com, DNA Sports Training. If you're an athlete that wants to get better on the field, whether it be coming off the ball, become a stud like Brandon Bennett, or it's being a stud lockdown left tackle like Coach Al, check out DNASportsDenver.com. Sign up. Get a appointment in, book a team session, really whatever. Buy some merchandise.
Check out our podcasts.
Yo, hit up DNASportsDenver.com. We're going to be getting in a training session tomorrow with Brandon. Definitely going to go and just work on some defensive line things, but we got offensive line, speed and agility, strength and conditioning. We can get out there and do a workout with you with resistance bands, whatever, man. We got some other stuff we're expanding to, but check us out, DNASportsDenver.com. Yo, Dom.
Hey, it's that time, man.
So, we're fun here, and this podcast episode has been mostly football, and it's probably going to be all football because we're, celebrating one of our guys and kind of kicking it with him, and this is what we're going to talk about, damn it. So I have a question for both of you fellas, and I'm interested to hear what you guys got on this topic, but who do y'all think are the best offensive and defensive players in the NFL right now? Do any one of you first? Dom, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kick this off. So, for me, I think that you're going to get a lot of guys, you're going to get those Von Millers, the Aaron Donalds, of course, the obvious answers. Offensively, though, I got to talk about this guy, man, Jonathan Taylor. This dude, he is something special. He's reliable. He'll put the game on his back when you need it. He has that hunter's mentality to where everybody on the field is prey to him. And, I don't want to talk about all his stats that he did because we all know that. We're going to talk about some next-gen stats, all right? So, for Jonathan Taylor, he was the number 1 ranked fastest clocked time when in week number 15, he had a 67-yard rush touchdown, and he clocked 22.13 miles per hour on that. Damn. In week 9, he had the number 4th fastest time when he clocked 22.5 on a 78-yard touchdown. And then in week 8, he had a 1-yard rush for 21.83 miles an hour. That just means that dude is playing at 1 speed all the time, and that's downhill. He's a downhill runner. Man, I would love to have him on my team. Best believe he might be a target for my fantasy football team. But when we're talking about next-gen stats, I'd be remiss of me to not talk about defensive line, right? And again, I'm not going to mention the Aaron Donalds or anything like that. I want to mention a few guys that, may not get the looks that they deserve. I'm going to mention a D-tackle just because I think he relates somewhat to what Brandon sees a lot of the time. But two of the fastest sacks recorded out of the top 10, Hassan Ridgeway from Philly. Week 8, he clocked a sack at 2.43 seconds from interior technique, guys. That's pretty amazing to see this guy get off the ball, defeat a double team, and get back there and get the sack. And then the number 1 fastest sack was Shaq Thompson from the outside linebacker position. He clocked a sack at 1.87 miles per hour.
Man, that's get off, but it's also great timing. That's get off and great timing, but I agree with you on Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's a beast, bro. Like, that dude is truly amazing, and I definitely would take him on my fantasy team. I think I had
seconds. My bad. I said miles per hour on that. In 1.87 seconds.
I didn't even catch that because 1.8 miles per hour would be slow as
slow.
That's like you getting off the ball, dog.
Don't play with me. We'll get on this grass right now, coach, and I'll show you what's cracking. Do not play.
Hey, I've already shut down Brandon before, dog. Don't make me do it to you, too.
I was 15. I'm 20 now. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Hey, man, don't you know not to be picking on old folks no more, man? Come on, I thought you were better than that, Brandon.
Yeah.
Nah, hey, Shaq Thompson, 1.87 seconds to get to the quarterback. As an offensive line coach, you try to tell your guys, hey, give him a couple of seconds, guys, and, that's just great timing, great get off, man. I got to imagine he's coming from the outside on the blitz, and just to get there so fast, that quarterback had to, do you know who he sacked?
I do not know who he sacked, honestly.
Not too next gen on them stats then, Dom. Brandon, what about you, man? Who would you say right now for offense anyway?
Offense, I don't really pay attention to offensive players because I don't really care about them, but I'm gonna go out on a limb, have to say Lamar Jackson probably, just cuz I feel like people are, oh, he's a running back, this, all he could do is run. But I think when you show him, like, oh, all I can do is run, so then he passes on you, and, he's still a great passer. I wouldn't say he's like, Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, but I just think what he brings to the table is a lot more than what other, offensive players bring. So that speed and then being able to also throw a little bit makes him one of the best.
I think his ability to do the things he does with his legs kind of amplifies his ability to throw a little bit, because you're so worried about what if he gets out on that edge on a boot or something, and you're worried about him kind of taking off with his feet, maybe you cheat up and you leave someone leaking behind you. So just what he can do in that aspect definitely makes him a freaking scary player. I definitely wouldn't want to coach against him. Dom, defensively, I know you had I kind of cut you off on the defense, and that's my bad. But
yeah, I was going to actually save that to the end because, I wasn't going to let you get out of here without me being a little bit biased, right?
Okay.
But there's no bias to it when the numbers speak for themselves. But this guy, man, when you talk about ball hawk, always at the ball, always making a tackle, you got to mention Denzel Perryman, right? He finished 6th in combined tackles, but was 1st in solo tackles in the NFL last year. The guy was always at the ball. There was a couple of games where he was banged up, and he was still out there making plays, making tackles. And in my opinion, last year, was kind of the heart and soul of the Raiders defense. And I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the table this year. But, yeah, Denzel Perryman, man, he is a beast. And he is truly phenomenal to see play the linebacker position.
Hell yeah. Offensively, man, you got all the names: Josh Allen's, Patrick Mahomes, Monte Adams, Tyreek Hill. You can go through the list. Personally, I don't feel offensive linemen get enough love, but whatever. They're only some of the best athletes on the field.
Besides D linemen.
Sure, whatever. You got guys like Trent Williams, Tristan Wirfs, Quentin Nelson that are just, they're maulers. But you can say the quarterbacks hold that crown and they get a lot of the credit. You hear people answer this question with Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, which is a great pick. Personally, I think the best football player is Cooper Kupp, man. Dude he gets on a defense a lot faster than you think. You can go back and watch college film of him, and he's the same player he was in college in the pros. I don't know how he kind of went as unnoticed as he does, but that's kind of how it goes, man. But I think Cooper Kupp, especially last year, he kind of exploded on. He definitely helped me in fantasy, so shout out to Kupp on that one. But I just think, a lot of times wide receivers, even though it's a dependent position, a lot of times wide receivers are just great football players. And you think about Jerry Rice, and you can go back and even into the late 80s and whatnot, and just think about the different guys. And just I personally believe Cooper Kupp's probably the best football player offensively.
You think with the absence of Robert Woods and potentially Odell Beckham is going to affect his game a little bit this year?
Not because they always have another guy that they bring up, to kind of second or third guy. Now, I think he's going to definitely get a little bit more attention now. But
Yeah.
that's why you pound the ball, run the ball a little bit, and they got great tight ends over there. So I think that might work to his benefit. But the word is out now. It ain't a secret no more. You can't have a couple of seasons like he's had and it kind of be like, oh, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So now we're gonna do the defensive guy for me and for Brandon, since we already did Dom.
Okay.
Leave him out, and he's Raider picking jerk. But I did put Devontae Adams on there though, bro. I thought you'd appreciate that.
I did. That's why I didn't speak about him.
I argue between him and Cup, man. They both are phenomenal athletes. So defensively, man, we talked a lot about some of these guys: Max Crosby, T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, Jalen Ramsey, the Bosas. You hear a lot about these guys, their athleticism. But I think it's safe to say Aaron Donald, in my opinion, is the best football player in the world. He's definitely been the best defensive lineman over the course of his 10 years in the league now. I think it is. He's going to be going on his 11th season. I mean, the number of All-Pros and Pro Bowls this guy has made, and Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. I just think right now, if you need any evidence, go watch the Super Bowl again. And he was just – him and Vaughn disrupted that Super Bowl, but just the pressure he brings up front. I know as an offensive line, we try to protect our inside the most. We get – that's the quickest way to the quarterback. And to be able to get inside and get up on that quarterback really from any position on the defensive line, man, it's just incredible. So I just always feel Aaron Donald's the best player in the world, man, and I don't know.
And it goes back to work ethic, right? And I'm not – everybody in the NFL is in the NFL, so they all have work ethic, right? But, when you get the guys like Aaron Donald, sometimes their work ethic still sets them apart, even amongst people who constantly are working, because, again, there's tons of defensive linemen that are putting in work right now as we speak, actually, with Coach from Michigan State. He always has a pass rush retreat, and they're all out there right now for all the NFL players, and they're getting that work, man. I'm following them on Instagram constantly, and shouts out to them for putting in that work.
It requires a lot of work. I think Brandon can speak to that. Brandon, you being a defensive tackle, defensive lineman, being on that side of the ball, you probably look up to and follow a lot more defensive players than you do offense. Who do you think's the best defensive player in the league right now?
Keep it short and simple. I think 3 Defensive Player of the Year's award, 2 back-to-back, kind of just speaks for itself. So I'm going to have to go with AD.
See, I knew it. That's why I had to come and say it first.
Yeah. Because
I didn't want to be stealing from your ideas. But see, it's a little side note. I've known this about Brandon. Know he loves him some Aaron Donald. So
yeah.
How can you not,
dude? When he was going through his contract situation this last off season, it was just like, I'm cool, I'm content. I was like, man, nah, Miami go make a play for him, But Aaron, he's a great football player, man. Like,
you know what, Ken? Is it crazy that we got into what is it, 2022, right? And we did not mention Tom Brady in the top players of the NFL. Now, I know he's older, right, but he's still the GOAT, and we did not mention him. Is it because, it is those latter years, or did we base, everything we went off of pure athletic ability?
I think it's a combination of things, man. I think when you look at, figuring out who the best player is, you think about impact. You think about athleticism. You think about fear on the field. While Tom might not be the most athletic person,
Strikes fear.
He definitely strikes fear. And he's definitely had an impact. I seen Aaron Donald whip his ass last year too in the playoffs, and I think Tom Brady's still a very great player. And I think where Tom Brady makes up for what he lacks now, maybe in the physical aspects, maybe some of that stuff's starting to get a little bit older and a little more tread on the tires. His mind's still solid.
Yeah.
And I think guys like him, like Peyton Manning when he was playing, I think if physically he would have been able to hold up another year, he had it mentally. Like, them guys are just, if you get Tom Brady's like I like to equate it to like the old Yankees of the late 90s, whereas just get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Once you get to the playoffs, dude, they have that 3-headed monster that can win them games in the playoffs. It's the same thing with Tom Brady. You get him to the playoffs, and all of a sudden, man, that experience starts kicking in, that ability starts kicking in, that championship attitude starts kicking in. But in my opinion, to be honest with you, Tom Brady's probably fighting to be a top 5 quarterback. Like, if you just go overall athleticism, future, all that stuff, I mean, if I had to choose right now for this season, I might go. Damn, this is blasphemy. I might go Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or one of these younger capable guys, just because I mean, Father Time's undefeated, bro. You seen it yesterday with Tiger Woods missing the cut in the British Open and kind of taking his last little walk in St. Andrews because it might be the last time he's there. You know what I mean? And Father Time stays undefeated, bro, and you never know when that's going to come creeping up. So, yeah, I mean, Tom Brady's great, and he'll forever be great. And as a Dolphin fan, he'll forever be – that might be why I left him off.
See what this is. I see what's going on here.
No, dude, because, hey, when I found out he was trying to be an owner player for the Dolphins this season, that's why he retired. Did you read that story? Like, I was like,
well, why wouldn't he want to own the Dolphins? He's owned them for years, right? So it's only right that he becomes a little bit of that ownership there. Hey, but
he owned the Raiders too.
We'll be talking about that was a tuck rule. We don't want to talk about
Raiders
that.
Always talking about tucking.
He's already admitted to what happened in that game, so we'll move past it. But we'll leave him off lists like this until his next Super Bowl.
You're probably right.
Yep.
You're probably right. What do you think, Brandon? You think Tom Brady a top 5 quarterback?
I mean, I think the rings speak for themselves, so just keep it at that.
Till you beat the man, you can't be the man. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's
exactly.
It.
I heard that. Hey, Patrick Mahomes had a chance to get that torch passed to him a couple years back, right? Yeah. And couldn't get it done. Tom Brady got that 7th, so makes sense. Moving on, man. As we're kind of getting to our last segment of the show today, wanted to spend some extra time on Brandon and kind of dive into his experience, a little more of his experience as a college football player, his immediate future, and what he's looking forward to for this upcoming season, and what he's looking to get out of this season. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, Brandon is going into his first season at Adams State University down in Alamosa, transferred over this year from Kearney. I think it's great to have you back home and in state. I don't know why these schools,
definitely,
schools it didn't be a little bit louder during the original recruitment process, but that is what it is. I mean, sometimes I know I went out to Missouri because I wanted to get away and try something different. So, how just overall going through the transfer portal, going into a new school and being recruited again, what would you how would you say the experience as a college football player so far has been for you?
So it's definitely interesting because, a lot different than high school. Players a lot bigger, practices a lot harder, you train a lot more, school's a little bit more difficult. So overall, it's definitely a challenge doing everything, but if you adapt, you overcome it, and it ain't that difficult.
It's interesting that you say that because when I got out to Missouri, man, when I got to Missouri Valley, there was a handful of guys on the team. Like, a handful of guys on the team, those are the best players on the team. And, like, there's not the gap between those guys and the next guys down is kind of low. But when I got out to Missouri Valley, it's like everyone was good. Everyone was strong. Everyone was fast. Everyone lifted, big weight and put in a lot of work. So I know going into college, it's kind of a little change for you, a little culture shock for you. But, I think it's just that grind is what pulls you through it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, with that, I just have a question for you. For your former teammates and all future college recruits, tell us how it was for you adjusting to the schedule of a college athlete, as far as like film, class, practice, work, and juggling all of those things.
So, like I said, it's a lot more difficult, but to all the younger people listening, all my former teammates, it's going to be different for you when you go in. I was fortunate enough to, I had the COVID year, so I didn't have fall camp or anything, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have to go through those, first 2 weeks where everyone wants to quit right away, so I had, eased into it. I was able to ease into all my film, practices, stuff like that, so it was a little bit easier for me, but I would just say Fall camp, when you get there, it's gonna be the worst 2 weeks of your life. It's you got film, practice, you gotta lift, everything. You gotta be conditioned too. If you fail that conditioning test, you're gonna hate it because Breakfast Club is not fun. But overall, grind. It's gonna suck, but hey, being broke sucks too. So keep that scholarship.
What was your conditioning test like?
So the only one we ever did, it was up in Kearney, and it was different for each position. So you had bigs, medium, or not. What are they called? Like big skills, I guess.
Okay.
Like linebackers and everything, and then you have skills. So for the linemen, it was just 15 yards and back, and you had to do it in 6 seconds. And it seems really easy, but you got to do it 20 times. So you got to make it in 6 seconds each time. Yeah, it gets hard. 15 and back.
For sure. 6 seconds, that's a full sprint,
Yeah.
for a big guy.
It sucked, but passed.
We had one up in Missouri Valley because they were the Vikings out there too, which is kind of crazy. I went to North as a Viking and I went to Missouri Valley as a Viking, but we had what was called the Viking Run, and it was kind of like the Sunset Cruises, but without the push-ups, But we would go from the back of the end zone, every line and back, until you went from the back of the end zone to the back of the end zone and back, and you had to complete it. And a lot of people didn't complete it. It was definitely grueling. So it's crazy how they come up with these conditioning drills or these conditioning tests that damn near want to kill you, man. Especially coming from a big guy, dude. That I hate conditioning.
Yeah. So you talk about conditioning. What was your first? Oh shit! This is a real moment in college. Like, what was the first time where you realized, you know what, I gotta turn it up a little bit because I'm at a different level?
So, like I said, I had didn't have to enter fall camp when I was a freshman, but me and my boys, they from Cherry Creek, so they got that work ethic. And we were training on the field one day. I see my boy Delonte, he was doing back pedals, and I was sitting next to my boy Grayson. I was like, I'm not working on my back pedals. I don't go back. And both of you coaches, you could attest to that. I never got pushed back in high school, so a little arrogant right there. But I was like, I'm not working on my back pedal. I never been pushed back. Why work on it if I'm not gonna do it? And then we had inside run. Our coaches like to keep it fast tempo. We had inside run next either day or day after. First play, double teamed. And, I'm good with double teams, so I was like, oh, lost my footing. And it was a double team.
Yeah.
So I got pancaked. But it was a double team. I want to say that. I was like, because I was going backpedaling a little bit, and then I was just like, I'm 5 yards back already, man. Just fall.
Yeah.
So,
hey, when you retreat, take them down.
Yeah, it's funny when someone gets under your leverage, under your pads, and gets underneath you, and just how quickly it can go wrong. Yeah. You don't even think it either, because you're a big dude, Brandon. I was a big dude. I remember we're doing these one-on-one kind of just. It's working to sink your feet after the bull rush,
Yeah.
And I had this kid, I forget his first name, but his last name was May. And he's called Mayday. He was from Kansas City. And at the time, I didn't know this, but he was like the Missouri state champion power lifter and strong-ass kid, bro. And we're doing one-on-ones, and he gets underneath my pad level, and I go sink my feet, bro. And he just PD rolled me, man. He lifted me up and put me down. It's kind of like when Brandon did that as a 15-year-old, but he actually put me down. He finished it.
Oh, so you had flashbacks.
Oh, dude. I told you when that happened with Brandon, it took me back to I thought I was in Missouri. I thought I was in Missouri with the 100% humidity just killing me, bro. Like, it was wild. But no, I don't care how strong or how big you are. If you give up your leverage, bro, like, it's done. And that's in the trenches. That's what it's all about. It's about establishing that leverage, right, and finishing off your opponent. And it just goes to show you, like, you could be thinking you're the shit and be quickly humbled, like, nah, bro, this is a new level. This is a new experience, and it's fun though. It's definitely a good thing to have happen to you, because you learned real quick, right, to respect that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I asked that question, right? Because we all get humbled
Yep.
in our everyday lives, like people at work, whether it's school, work, friends, family. There's always going to be a humbling moment for everybody in life. So, that's a definite question that I go to a lot whenever we have a guest.
So, Brandon, you made the move over to Adams State this fall. Be your first season there. What is your excitement level going into this new opportunity, and what are you looking forward to getting out of this season, going into the season?
Yeah, man. So making the move over to Adams State, back in my home state. So a little excitement there, and get to play a couple of my former teammates from Kearney. So it's definitely going to be a little bit of fun when we play them. But I'm more so excited that I get a new, fresh start, and I'm able to prove myself. And I think with the team that Coach Harrison has been building, Coach Harrison's the head coach at Adams State, I think we all putting our faith in him. And, I've been asking around. Everybody's buying in. I'm already fully bought into his program. I'm trusting him with everything. So I think, we all go in. We're going to go into fall camp. We're going to ball out. And that first game against Western New Mexico, we're going to go out, put everything on the line. And then 10 weeks from that, hopefully we be leaving with the RMAC championship ring.
Mm. Yeah. It's been a while, and I'm sure you're excited to kind of help try to make that happen and kind of change that culture there a little bit. And I know the coaching staff is, new coaching staff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so getting into that and kind of leaving that stamp from Alamosa, I think it's big for the state. I love when our teams are up, and I know with Adams State, they're looking to make some things happen.
Yeah, they've been recruiting heavily.
They have. They definitely have, dude. And you know what? If we talked about this a few times, too, about some of these Colorado schools missing the boat on some of these talented athletes that are here. And shout out to those that are doing their homework and being diligent and trying to get these great Colorado athletes. There's a ton of them here, and it's exciting to see them get opportunities. Brandon, do you have any personal goals for yourself this year? Like, I'm sure you have goals, but like, is there any that stand out that like this needs to happen for me?
My only goal every day is just be better than yesterday. No matter what I do, from mental to physical, I just want to be better. Once the season comes, I'm gonna set these goals, sack record or something like that. But my main objective every day is just to be better and better myself as much as I can, because you always want to be the best version of yourself.
And that's all we can do, right, is strive every day to get better. And when you make that the first and foremost goal, all the other goals are going to fall right into place and align to where they need to be.
For sure. I think that brings you to where you need to be.
Yeah. I have one. If you could do anything different, or if there's anything that you've learned from your last college experience to this new school, what would it be? What would you take with you?
I'm gonna just be me, not go in with a big head. I'm a lot more humble than I was going in, so that's really big. And going to this new school, I'm gonna try and prove who I am, and I'm definitely gonna do what I can do to be the best I can. So that's all I'm taking in that new school. Just be the best I can.
That's a great answer, because that was an accountability answer. You didn't hear, you get some athletes sometimes and you hear, well, this and that, and all I heard right there is what you're gonna do to be better, Brandon, and I commend you for that, because I will attest to the humility you have right now, compared to when you were going in. Is leaps and bounds ahead of where you used to be, and I'm proud to see you putting your accountability first and foremost, and making sure that correct yourself before you make any goals and plans to get better. So I applaud you for that.
I think the greatest part of trying to kind of humbling yourself and addressing yourself and taking care of yourself is when you go from pointing your index finger forward and turning your thumb to yourself, and understand that the only thing that we control is our ability to be better, to get better. We have no control over any of these elements around us. Life is full of chaos, and, things change at a moment's notice, especially in college football. So I think it's great to be able to look to yourself and be like, all right, this is where I need to improve. This is where the areas in which I control, and to see you, making them steps and doing those things, man, it makes me proud as a coach. Makes me proud as somebody that knows you and has been around you for a number of years athletically, and to see the growth that you've displayed over the years, man, is truly a blessing, dude, and it's awesome, and I commend you for that, salute you for that, and just appreciate you, man, every day.
Yeah, and I love this humbleness that we're getting right now, but I know you, B, and I'm going to bring it out. If there's one game on your calendar that you're looking forward to this season, because you said you're playing some of your old friends, which game can you think of off the top of your head that you're really looking forward to going out and making a statement and kind of showing us the confidence level that you have on the field as well?
It's the last game of the season, and it's against Western Colorado.
Ooh, he's coming for you. We know who he's talking to.
So when Elias Zarate, when he listens to this, I hope he sees this, but we don't really care if you all the RMAC champs. We're going to go in, we're going to ball out, and I hope you come across the middle just so I can hit you.
Yeah, they're coming.
All right, now we got to get Elias on here now so we can get the rebuttal now.
Yeah.
Man, Elias is a wide receiver up at Western State, another kid that was part of Brandon's
Great kid.
Part of Brandon's senior group, and just another part of the solid core, man. Again, one of the ones that he references to kind of as his core group, and keeps him level. So it's great to see that, man. I'm excited to see so many of our kids kind of compete against each other, man.
Coach, we might have to make an appearance for that one.
Oh, bet. Hey, is it in Gunnison or is it out in Alamosa?
It's in Gunnison, yeah.
See, man, either one of those, we can go. Road trip. Leave the wives at home.
Yep.
Ladies, lock the doors. I'm going to steal this one from Coach because we're going to get ready to get into this thing and wrap it up. We've already been doing this for an hour, man. And, Brandon, if there's something you could tell ninth grade Brandon, what would it be?
Really, this just goes out to, because I can't really change anything in the past. So this goes out to all the ninth graders, eighth graders, incoming, whatever. If you younger and you still got time in high school, enjoy it, have fun with your friends. I think Coach Dardano is the one or Frank Dardano, he's the one who had told me, it goes by fast. Coach Tip, he had told me, this is the last time you get to have fun in football. Other than that, it's serious. So to all those people still in high school, going into high school football, enjoy it, have fun, but also you want to be able to say that you played at the next level. So while you're having fun, balling out with your friends, put in the work too, buy into the program. I know that was a big issue for me. We had multiple head coaches, but once I finally bought into the program, I turned into an animal. So I would just say you buy into the program, but have fun while you're doing it. You only get 4 years, but it'll be the best 4 years that you have, too, if you're just having fun with your friends.
Brandon, some of my favorite memories of that last season was the last week of practice, and every single freaking day. Oh, last day of defensive practice, Coach. Last time I'm going to run on this field and do these suicides, Coach. Last day I'm going to hit the sled, Coach. Last time we were lining up for team meal, Coach. Like that shit just cracked me up, man. You're a knucklehead out on the field, bro. You're also a damn good football player. One that I look forward to seeing hit the field this year, make some things happen. Look forward to seeing that Western State game. Look forward to seeing Adams State compete in the RMAC and make some noise. We're excited for you, bro. I know Dom is super proud of you. I'm super proud of you, man. And we just want to make sure that you continue that good work, bro. Keep putting in that hard work. Be an example to these young people and the people around you that, you know what, we can fall, we can get back up. But as long as we work our ass off, we'll get to where we want to be, man. So we're super proud of you. Super thankful for you to be here. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and to all our viewers, if you don't know him, get familiar with him. Remember the name Brandon Bennett, because he's going to put in that work, and he's going to make you remember him. So, check him out. Support this young man. Again, he is making all the right strides to become a better person in life, not only a better athlete, but a better person. And I'm extremely proud of all the hard work that he's put in. I've seen it first and foremost, and I'm excited to be a fan going forward. And if you're a fan of us, become a fan of him.
Brandon, I know you said your socials and all that stuff's private. Do you want to share any of your socials at all, or is there anything you want to say before we get out of here? Shout out to whoever you want to shout out. I mean, this is your time, man, to say what you want to say.
So, only social I'll give out just because it's the athlete social is That Man Grizz on IG. They'll put it on the podcast, put it as like an @ or something. But That Man Grizz, 3 Z's. Just a quick shout out, all my people, all my friends that support me, got me through my tough times. And appreciate y'all for showing me the love. Appreciate all my coaches. And hopefully, compete in the RMAC and make y'all proud soon.
Amen. Dom, I know you got some shout-outs you want to hit up.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, we wouldn't be anything without our viewers, right? And I want to give a shout-out to the
Chi-Town.
Shout out to Chirac, man, for listening to us, staying in tune with us. Continue to listen, grow out through the tri-states. We appreciate the support. Also, I want to give a shout out to my boy Louisiana from work, man. He listens to every episode. And
shout out Louisiana.
We talk about all the topics afterwards, man. He's in tune with what we're doing. And I appreciate the support, man. Share the love, and shouts out to you, homie.
Hey, I'm going to second Coach Dom. To see where we're getting listened to from, downloads from, it's awesome. It's humbling. It's amazing. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and doing that. Keep it up. Run them numbers up on the socials. Run them numbers up on the website, DNASportsDenver.com. Make sure you hit the links to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channel. There ain't much on there, but we got a bunch of content coming soon. Again, DNASportsDenver.com. Shout out to my partner, Coach Dom. Shout out to Brandon Bennett for coming out here and just laying some wisdom down. Make sure y'all tune in, man. We appreciate you for listening. Again, run that up. We'll get out of here. Peace.